Hi, we're Acquaintance and Curious Volumes. My name is James. Today's Tuesday, and that for some people is Tag Tuesday. So I'm gonna do a tag, and it's an original tag by Heather Reeds, and it's the "How Proust Can Change Your Reading" tag, and it was inspired by her reading of "How Proust Can Change Your Life" by the philosopher Alain de Boton, which was inspired by Boton's reading of Marcel Proust in Search of Lost Time, which is a work, if you watch this channel, you know I've been reading through quite slowly over the last, well, more than a year now. I am about 5 pages into the last of these seven volumes, which is Time Regained. So, and I owe you all my thoughts on The Fugitive, which I finished last week. So there'll be a video on that coming probably later this week. So since it's a Proust week, I thought I would do this Proust themed tag from Heather. And if you don't know Heather's channel, it's really good. She's the kind of channel that I like. She really does things her own way. Not a ton of tags, but she's very thoughtful about the things that she does. She did an extremely slow and careful reading of Middlemarch over several months. She's good. If you like the slow, meditative, thoughtful type of booktuber, highly recommend Heather Reeds. Anyway, here is the tag, or the first prompt. Number one, and these are from the chapters of Boton's book, How to Live Life Today. If there was only time to read one more book before the world ended, which book would you read? Well, this is a strange one because how do we am I the only person who knows the world is going to end? And how long is a book? Am I reading a slim volume of poetry, or do I have time to read War and Peace? Also, if everyone else knows that the world is ending, it's going to be madness out there. I don't know that I'm going to want to sit inside and just. If it's a slim volume of poetry, I'm not going to bother to read a slim volume of poetry in my last half hour to an hour on Earth. I can't imagine being able to focus even on something like War and Peace for a few days as I waited for the Earth to end. So I think I'm not going to read anything. I'm going to be going insane with everybody else, unfortunately. Um, let's see. Number two. We're off to a good start, right? Number two. How to read for yourself. Name two books which had one or more of the Maquis de Lau effects on you. And there are four different effects, and I'm just going to read out the two of them to which I had responses. So one is to recognize that we have, to recognize what we have in common with people who seem different than us or lived at different times. And for this, I'm going to name something that I read way back in my undergrad days, which was an anthropology book called The Forest People by Colin Turnbull. And this is an ethnography of the Mbuti people of, I guess that was in Congo? People who are commonly called pygmies. So this is an African group, and there are several subgroups of them who are known to be short in stature and who have a way of life centered on living in small bands, relatively egalitarian groups out in the forest. And this was one of the most readable and enchanting works of anthropology I ever read. It really made what seems to someone from the suburbs like a completely alien way of life. It made it make sense. It made you understand how it made sense for them and how the ways in which their way of doing things worked for them. And it made the seemingly exotic, as they might have said then, seem reasonable, and the familiar seem kind of pointless and strange in a way. Um, Probably these days people would say that Turnbull sort of romanticized the Mbuti. Maybe so, maybe so. Maybe I fell for that. But anyway, that is my answer. And then for the second part of this, I'm going to answer this question. To read about an idea or emotion and recognize it as one you have experienced but never articulated. And for this, I'm going to name another ethnography, but an ethnomusicology book called Real Country by Aaron Fox. And I've talked about this book on the channel before at some point. Um, Real Country is a book about a honky tonk bar in South Austin, Texas. And the work for it was done in the 1990s. So basically the action is people going and having beers after work or on the weekend, and there is live performance by country music bands or music played over the jukebox. And much of the book is about how the habitués, the denizens, the frequenters of this tavern talk about and think about the music and use it as a technology of the self. He doesn't use that. It's another kind of music studies term, but a way of understanding their own feelings and relating their feelings to the feelings of other people. Also, the way that people talk and joke around with each other and express their fondness or their agitatedness with each other in all kinds of different ways. In particular, there's a section on these country music tropes or cliches about being tore up or acting the fool, which are particularly relatable to anyone who's ever felt themselves in a state of dejectedness or agitation. But yeah, that was a favorite. And as someone from not from the South, living in the South and interacting with Southern culture and Southern working class people, I recognized a lot in there, and he really put words to things that I had also observed myself in a somewhat different but similar context. So that's Real Country by Aaron Fox. Let's see. Number three, How to Take Your Time. If you had to spend a week in a cabin in the woods with no phone, television, radio, or internet, and no transport except your 2 feet, and there was a hardback copy of Proust's In Search of Lost Time in that cabin, would you try reading the book, or would you do something else, and what would that be? Well, I would definitely read Proust in that cabin by myself for a week. Yes, so I would do other things as well. I would take breaks, but yes, I would read Proust. Number four, How to Suffer Successfully. Is it true for you that some kind of suffering or unhappiness is probably what made you a reader or a writer? Not true for me. Well, I'm not really a writer, but I am a reader, and no, I don't think any suffering or unhappiness made me a reader. I mean, yeah. No. Okay, number five, How to Express Your Emotions. Think of any book you recently read and enjoyed. In 100 words or less, describe what you think was good about it without using adverbs or adjectives. So this was really not easy, and I don't think I did a good job, but I did write 100 words on a book I read recently that I enjoyed, and I'm going to try. I'm going to read it, and don't judge me. I couldn't use adjectives or adverbs. Okay. The book is Hot Air, a novel by Marcy Dermansky. Hot Air tells the story of two couples thrown together through an accident of fate. The characters respond to and interact with each other in different combinations and configurations. At first, they seem like they will be friends. At first, they think they will become intimates. As they learn more about each other, they reconsider everything. The action takes place over a few days, and at the end, nothing has changed, but one character gets the drive to start a writing project. Dermansky writes from the perspective of each character and gives each one a voice. Now, I don't think that really tells you what's good about it, so maybe I failed in that. But anyway, I do recommend that you read "Hot Air" by Marcy Dermansky if you're in the mood for a quick little dose of insanity uh, with a hot air balloon crash in it. Okay, number 6: How to be a good friend. Think of a book where a friendship is central and discuss whether Proust's principle about 100% honesty being bad for friendship is true or not. Um, I think I didn't. I see. I thought I had prepared for this, and I don't have this. But so let me say, a book where friendship is central. Well, something that comes to mind is recently I read Cleat by James Lee Burke, which is a detective novel uh, told from the perspective of someone who is the sidekick of a character who is well established in this fictional world. And 100% honesty. Look, these guys are boon companions, but they do not tell each other absolutely everything. So I don't think, and I don't think they would say that 100% honesty would be good for their friendship. Yeah, no, 100% honesty bad for friendship. Um, I think I agree with that. Um, and uh, yeah, so let's see. And number 7: How to open your eyes. Is there a book that opened your eyes to the beauty of a different genre or different type of writing or different subject matter? Okay, so I'm going to say, because there's a lot of things that I read that I didn't think I was going to like, but I gave them a try. And I should have prepared for this one. I wrote everything down, but I guess I missed these two while I was writing this up. So I'm gonna circle. I'm gonna come back to that one. Number 8: How to be happy in love. Do you have any personal pointers to help a flagging reader refresh their love for reading? I mean, my main piece of advice would be read something you like. Just pick up some various things, read a little bit of it, and if it doesn't, give it a page or two, and if it's not making you smile at least a little bit, if it's not making you want to keep going, put it aside, find something else, and keep going until you find something that is not a struggle and that just makes you want to keep going. So don't so put aside any big lists of books, any reading projects, any 100 books to read before you die, or Western canon lists. Put all that aside. Just read a thing and keep trying things until you find something that you like, and just be ruthless about it. Um, let's see. Number 9: How to put books down. Is there a writer you once considered a kind of oracle, or a book you once thought you would always adore, but over time you have grown to see the author or book differently? Yeah, so I thought of one writer who I was wild about at a certain point in my life, but I think you'd have to pay me money to get me to read another book by him, and that is Jack Kerouac. Um, when you're a young person, he certainly has an exciting way of putting things. His the famous quote from On the Road about the only ones for me are the mad ones. It's fantastic, right? You read that and you're like, yeah, I want to go with these people. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're like this sounds exhausting. Um, and is he able to sustain that the whole for the length of a 350 page book or whatever? Not really. I mean, on the road kind of flags. Dharma Bums has its moments too. But anything else I've ever picked up by him, just I can't. I can't. I can't do it. I think. I think his old friend William Burroughs would probably fall into that category too. I really liked some of his stuff when I was young. But if I'm, am I gonna read one of those cut up novels or no, 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 sir, no, thank you. So, so maybe I'm just putting the whole Beat generation in writers I once considered an oracle. Okay, so I want. I said I would go back to How to Open Your Eyes, a book that opened your eyes to the beauty of a different genre or type of writing or different subject matter. There are so many, and I guess I have to give you an example. I never thought that I would be excited to read, um, a children's adventure novel before I read Treasure Island. I couldn't stop reading that once I started. So this is a recent one, right? I never thought I would be interested in reading Western, but since I joined BookTube, I took part in June on the Range last year. I did not care for the Zane Grey that I read, but I liked the um, whatever Louis L'Amour novel I read. Maybe it was called Rifle Pine Trail or something like that. Probably not. Um, yeah, I read the King James Bible from beginning to end. Did not think I would be interested in that, but yeah, I did not always enjoy, but the parts of it definitely, parts of it definitely. So there's all kinds of unexpected adventures you can find when you start reading different things, reading things outside of your comfort zone. So that's my response to the How Proust Can Change Your Reading tag. It's an original tag by Heather Reeds. I'm going to tag a few friends who I think might have something to say because I know that they've been trying their hand at reading Proust as well, for good or ill. So I'm going to tag my friends Jenny Javols, Randy Ray, and Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. I'm sure they will have things to say, possibly pertaining to Proust, possibly not. We'll see. But anyway, that's what I have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye.